let us begin. We're going to begin seated. You can have a seat either on a blanket or in a chair, but do prop up at least. Have your hips a little bit higher than your knees. You can rock a little bit front and back for a moment. Just feel the fronts of the sitting bones to the backs of the sitting bones. Just feel what happens in your entire torso, in your core when you take the torso a little bit front and a little bit back, and then just find center. And the same from right to left. You can rock from side to side a couple of times, and then see if you can find center. So you're really right in the center of those sitting bones. Even sitting, even posture promotes equanimity of body and of mind and of heart. If you feel comfortable and safe, you can close the eyes, or if you prefer, just leave them open with a soft gaze. Let your eyelids be just a little bit heavy, and the space behind your eyes a little bit softening. And so as we attend to the doing of promoting even sitting, evenness of mind, and evenness of heart, by finding a tall seat in the center and by tuning into our breathing, letting it be long and slow and smooth to the extent of our ability. We promote the ability to feel and hear the wisdom from within. You might call it also higher power or divine care, spirit. Whatever that language is for you, you might call it insight. Whatever that is, just allowing for that by taking your seat. We'll just take a minute or so quietly to arrive and re-arrive with each breath, to take our seat. And to notice what arises. And as you're ready, you can allow the eyes to open if they're closed. Just begin to move into a little bit of cat and cow motion. So as you inhale, you'll rock to the front of the sitting bones. Let the belly come forward, let the shoulders draw back, the elbows draw back, the gaze start to come up, and as you exhale, rolling to the back of the sitting bones, curling. Oh, let the mid-back go back, the crown forward, inhaling and arching. Just with your own breath, exhaling and curling. Just starting to connect movement and breath And see if as you move, you can really coordinate so that there's no moment where you're not moving and no moment where you're not breathing. And there's a continuous lifting and separating from vertebra to vertebra. So that even as we curl and make this C curve on the exhale, there's some amount of lift and space to make opening for the discs, for their nourishment, for our own well-being. And then pause, come back to center. And just for awareness of head and neck, think of a long cervical spine. Take the eyes out as if you were looking to the horizon. I'm just looking at a brown wall, but I can imagine the sea at Cape Cod where I love it. Inhale tall, and then exhale, take your eyes across the horizon, gaze over your right shoulder. Inhale, center as you lift the crown of the head, and exhale, even as you twist, you're lifting left shoulder. And go like this from side to side in your own time, inhaling center and exhaling to the side. Back and forth a couple of times. As you're engaged in this exercise, be mindful that you're sending the two sitting bones down toward the earth and the crown of the head up toward the sky. And then come back to center, and we'll begin to take the spine into a flowing seaweed motion, seaweed spine, just improvisationally allowing the spine to wave, to move. Right, so front and back and side to side, and also on the diagonal, maybe around in circles a little bit. Just seaweed spine, right? When you think of when you pick seaweed out of the water, it's just so floppy. So can you let the spine move a little bit out of the linear pathway, shall we say? Right, so it's a little bit of gyrational movement, or however you'd like to think about that improvisation, diving. You can lead with the head, you can lead with the middle of the spine. You can keep that going as long as you like. When you're ready, just pause and come back to center. Be still and notice any after effects of those few spinal movements. How do you feel? In the spine, in the rib cage, throughout the torso. Maybe even in your throat or in your jaw. How do you feel? Just take note. So I'd like to share a little bit on this 26th of Shvat. And by the way, this Shabbat will be Rosh Chodesh Adar Aleph, first Adar. So we have a leap year 2 months of Adar in the Jewish calendar. So Purim isn't until the second Adar, don't worry. And then, of course, that will enable Rosh Hashanah to be later this year. It moves everything later. So, Parshat Mishpatim. The Israelites have been taken out of slavery into freedom, right? In Beshalach, we crossed the sea. And in Yitro last week, we were given the Aseret HaDibrot, the 10 Commandments, the 10 utterances. And now, what's the job for the Israelites? For us to coalesce as community, to understand laws and shared values and shared precepts and how to behave justly. Right? How to come together as community. So there is a moment where Moses is invited together with Aaron and Aaron's sons, Nadav and Avihu, and 70 elders of the community to come up to God. And because they are so spiritually open, there are such strong practitioners, advanced in their spiritual practice, they're invited to perceive God, and in so doing, they will not be killed, right? Because we know you can see God panim el panim, face to face, and live, right? But they're invited to perceive God's presence. And so they say in Exodus 23, verse 7, they say, fine, na'aseh v'nishma, we'll do it. Literally, we'll do it and we will listen, right? So that seems quite out of order and curious. It seems like, well, I'll listen to what you have to say, then I'll decide if I want to do it. But they say, we'll do it and we'll listen. So the rabbis have asked for generations, for centuries, what's up with that sort of reversal, and what does it mean? Essentially, they're saying we'll do the mitzvot, and through the doing of the mitzvot, we'll really understand how to live a good life, a life of justice and of positive values. I want to share with you a little bit from Rabbi Yael Levy in this book, Directing the Heart, that I often read from. That's so beautiful. The second part of her mindfulness / quasi-poetic take on Parshat Mishpatim. She offers a little sort of poetic piece on every parsha. So this is halfway through. She says that, we've come through the Midbar, and how do we discern the path? Because for so long we served Pharaoh. We bowed down to what oppressed us and to what enslaved us and to what constricted us. We bowed down to the demands and the shoulds and the have-tos, she said. And the soul, the enslaved soul, is narrow. Now what do? You freed us. How do we discern the path? What do we do? So the soul cries, how will we recognize the way? How will we break through what has been for so long? How will we find and keep returning to what is ultimate? Make a commitment to practice. The mystery instructs. Make a commitment to practice. So that's essentially that na'aseh v'nishma, the na'aseh part. Make a commitment to practice, the mystery instructs. Set intentions, be disciplined, devote your time and energy to this effort. Take on practices that call for focus and awareness. Practices that challenge habitual behavior and help cultivate an expansive perspective and calm mind. So those are our personal practices, right? Meditation, yoga, prayer, mitzvot. Some of the mitzvot are personal, right? And then she says, take on practices that direct your attention beyond yourself, that call you into relationship, and awaken concern and responsibility for the well-being of others, right? So mitzvot ben adam lechavaro, between us and someone else, mitzvot of the community. Make a commitment to practice and you will know I am with you, the mystery calls. At times the path will be narrow and the way forward confusing and unclear. Do your best to stay true to your commitments, and when you fall short, practice forgiveness and compassion. And look for me in the Midbar, in the vast uncharted wilderness. Know that I'm there. Practice so as to notice me. For behold, I send messengers before you to guard you on your way and bring you to the place I have prepared. And that's her translation of Exodus 23, verse 20, right? So, and look for me in the midbar. Look for me when you get stuck. Look for me when you don't know what the hell you're doing and how to go on. Do your practice, and I'll be there. You'll know what to do. So this is yoga, right? Na'aseh v'nishma. We take a shape in the body. Asana, the Sanskrit word for posture, literally means seat. We take our seat. We do our posture, we do the practice, and then each time we engage in a pose, we pause afterward and we listen to its echo. That's vinishma, that's the listening. It's not the listening of the head, it's the listening of the nervous system, right? So this is our practice here, and then we learn to take it off the mat. So we understand through the doing, through the na'aseh, through the engaging, not by talking about it or philosophizing, but through doing. We engage in practice, and then through our inner listening, we can hear vinishma, our inner guidance, our inner wisdom, our inner direction, and then we can understand very deeply how to move that into our lives. So let's na'aseh, bo na'aseh, let's do. You can use your blanket if you'd like for some comfort for your knee. We're going to take the left foot forward and the right knee back into a low lunge, and you might take your blocks with you. See that you're not on the top of the right kneecap. You don't want to smush it in any way, right? You're a little ahead of it. You can take your hands to the blocks on any level, and what's helpful about hands to the blocks is that it gives some length and opening to the torso so that you don't just smush yourself onto your thigh, and you can find length from the tailbone to the crown. Lengthen the tailbone and see if you can draw the lower belly a little bit up. And you see that by doing that, you have right relationship with the pelvis, and you might start to feel some sensation additionally build in the hip flexor and in the thigh of the right leg. And let's just take a little bit of pulsing by inhaling the hips back and exhaling, pulsing them forward. You can take that in your own breath and your own time. Just coming to your own edge. As always, this is your own practice. Go at your own pace. And you don't have to look at all the way I look or mimic my shapes. We're really looking for that inner wisdom that guides each of us in our own bodies. And then if you'd like, you can tuck your back toes. Tuck those right toes, all 5 of them, and lift the right knee and send the heel back. And particularly send the inner heel back. And that helps us roll the right thigh in slightly and let the hips be even. You can stay right here. So I'm going to build up to a high lunge, but you can stay wherever you like. You could stay with the knee down. You can stay here with the knee up. Or you can begin to build higher by taking the hands to the front thigh or to the hips. And if you'd like, you can take them up, either cactus arms or extending up, palms facing each other, fingertips extending up. Continue to send that heel back, particularly the right inner heel. And then bring the hands back down, and from wherever you are, you can step the right foot forward to meet the left. Bring the blocks a little bit in front of you. Just find a ragdoll position with the knees bent, the elbows bent, the head down. Good, we're going to inhale and work towards straightening the legs and straightening the arms and coming to a flat back position, lengthening the spine. And then as we exhale, folding back in, bend the knees, bend the elbows. Inhale and lengthen out, kind of like a sea anemone. I guess I'm really feeling the aquatic impulse today. connection to the ocean, and then exhale, fold it in. Inhale, lengthen and open. Exhale and fold, and then we're going to take the left leg, step it back, and come on down and build this whole thing again on the other side. So the left foot is back, the left knee is back, the right foot is forward now. We come into this low lunge. Good, and we inhale the hips back, and exhale, bring them forward. A little bit of pulsing, seeing what's here to meet us today in the hips, in the legs. Once again, imagine that you can lengthen the tailbone and draw the low belly in and up. You might feel a little extra engagement coming from the hip flexor, from the quads. And just notice how it is from side to side, a little different every day. Then tuck those back toes under you if you would like, and lift the knee, extend the heel back, particularly the left inner heel. Again, going slowly or just staying in the knee down position. You'll see, how much you want to come up. Maybe the hands come to the right thigh or the hips. Square those hips, feel that they're level, right? So you might have to draw the left hip point forward a little bit. And then arms up if you'd like. Maybe cactus arms, maybe extending up, palms facing in toward each other. A couple breaths here. Again, sending that left inner heel back. And then exhale, bring the arms forward. Step the left foot forward to meet the right. That might be one step or many steps. And once again, take the blocks a little bit in front of you. Inhale, flat back, lengthen the spine, draw the thighs back. And exhale, bend the knees, crown of the head down to the floor. Just fold in. Inhale and expand, lengthen. And exhale, fold it in. Good, take an inhale here. Fill the pelvic bowl, fill the rib cage. And as you exhale, we're going to roll up the spine vertebra by vertebra, pressing the floor away with the four corners of the feet. Lengthening the tailbone down as you stack vertebra upon vertebra. And slowly coming up. Widen the collarbones. Head comes up last. And then just pause in an easy mountain pose. The feet can be hip width apart or the feet can be together. Just easy. And notice how you feel. Nishma. Right, listen in. Does anything feel different as a result of taking those few movements? Is there any tingling or vibrating or heating up or anything else? What do you notice? And then let's just take a couple of shoulder rolls. Inhaling the shoulders up and exhaling, drawing the shoulder blades toward each other and back and down. So just really nice, slow, juicy shoulder rolls. Inhaling up and exhaling back and down. Like a nice big circle of the whole shoulder girdle. This is a place we can just get so tight going through our day. And it's nice to just release it. You can even chew a little. Let the jaw go as you're rolling the shoulders. And you could stick out your tongue. And stretch the tongue. And then we'll start to move into a little backstroke, taking the elbows one at a time, right and left. Then maybe you'll add the whole arm, extending the arm. Maybe take the gaze with you as you circle back. Spread through the fingers. Wonderful. We're going to take a little bit of chest opening. So a couple of options. If your hands clasp, if that works for you, if you're open enough across the front of the chest, you'll clasp hands. If that's not accessible for you, no worries. You'll take the strap and you'll take your arms a little bit apart from each other and draw back, right? So either way, clasping hands or taking the strap behind you, send your knuckles back, widen your collarbones, lift the chest, and see that you lengthen the tailbone and that there's a lift through the whole spine so that there's no crunching. You can open up across the upper chest like you could lay a platter on it, and even gaze up toward the ceiling if that's available. But if that's not good for your cervical spine, you're gonna just tuck the chin a little and lengthen the crown of the head. Either way, take a nice big inhale here. And then if you'd like, we're gonna fold forward from the hip crease, says, plural, bend the knees greatly as you fold forward. And you can come just a little, or you can come a lot. Just see what you want in this fold. Continue to send the knuckles back behind you. Couple of breaths. Take the head a little bit side to side so you just know it's easy. You could shake it a little, yes and no. And then inhale, pressing into the feet. Let, again, the knuckles bring you up, rolling up vertebra by vertebra. Come a little bit into this backward extension once again to complete. And then exhale back to center. Release the hands. Give it a little shake. Just a little ease here. Yeah. So we did the doing, and now we do the listening. Pause, soften your eyes, soften through the body. You can imagine you're made of like Play-Doh. Remember Play-Doh? Choose your color. Just easy, soft, formless. Breathe here and listen in. Observe, allow. Great. So now with some of this opening, we'll engage a few of the standing postures. Let's begin with Warrior Two. Stepping or jumping the legs wide. Turning the left toes in and the right toes out. The hands can stay at the hips, or you might inhale the arms shoulder height, palms pressing down, fingers spread. Inhale here, feel that you can separate the collarbones and all the ribs almost away from the sternum in either direction. And then exhale, bend the front knee, sit it down into the pose. Couple of breaths here. When you're ready, inhale, press into the feet, come on up. Turn the feet, We'll just engage in a little bit of nasa, a little bit of doing of these standing poses that work us a little bit through the hips and the legs, and then we'll see how that went in the body. Inhale, open, expand, and exhale, bend that left knee, come into the pose. Be right here, breathing, feeling what there is to feel. Maybe a little bit of heat building, maybe even a little bit of shaking in the legs. That's okay, as long as we're stable. Press into the feet to come on up. Turn the feet. Good, taking it into side angle. Inhale the arms. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale here. Exhale, take right forearm to right thigh. And if you'd like, left arm up overhead, side angle. Either facing forward or beginning to spin the right ribs under you and gaze up. You'll see what works in your body. When you're ready, inhale and come up. Turn the feet, other side. Inhale the arms. So again, it's shoulder height or it's waist. And exhale, warrior two. Inhale here. Exhale, forearm to thigh. And maybe the top arm stays at the hip or the shoulder, or maybe it extends overhead. Again, you decide. Couple of breaths here. You'll see if you want to be easeful, a little more on the easeful side of this pose, or if you really want to energize it and press into the forearm and help spin the rib cage to gaze up. Okay, so just be where you are. And when you're ready, inhale and come up and turn the feet. We'll take triangle pose. So you might use a block behind you. You might take a hand to the thigh or the shin. You might take a hand to the chair if you prefer that way. If you have a chair, you just want to take triangle, up here. Turn the feet, left toes in, right toes out. Inhale, fill the form you are. Exhale, shift the hips over to the left. Extend the torso and come into the pose. Legs are straight, spine is long. Top arm is up, or top arm could also be at the hip. Right, so you might be here with me. You might be just right here. Long spine. When you're ready, press into the feet. Inhale to come up. Good. Release the arms, turn the feet. We'll take the other side. You can move the chair or the block. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, shift the hips, legs are straight. Hands coming down. You'll see where you want to place yourself, right? Lots of options. Couple of breaths here. When you're ready, inhale, press into the feet. Come on up. Good. Okay, we're going to take wide leg forward fold. So you can move those blocks in front of you or the chair. If you're using a chair, your legs remain wide. They can even go a little bit wider than the triangle stance. Either the outer edges of the feet are in line with the outer edges of the mat, or you can turn the toes to face in slightly. Hands to the hips. Inhale, draw the elbows back, lift the heart up. And exhale, fold from the crease of the hips. The hands come to the chair or the blocks or the floor. And we're in a flat back. So again, legs are straight, spine is long. Draw the thighs back in space. Na'asa. We engage in the doing. And if you'd like, inhale long spine and exhale, fold down so that the crown of your head comes to the block or to the floor. The hands draw in line with the feet, with the fingers facing forward and the elbows drawing toward each other, 90 degrees at the elbows or so. You can stay in this shape at whatever stage you prefer, right? So you might be folding forward like me. You might stay in the long spine, and that's great. That's absolutely a full expression of the pose. When you're ready, inhale, lengthen the spine, flat back. Exhale, the hands to the hips. Inhale, come on up. Lift up. And exhale, come forward. Jump or heel toe, step the feet back together. Good. And now, nishma, we listen. How did that go? Take one hand to the belly and one hand to the chest, the heart space. Just lower the gaze or close the eyes, however you prefer. Little form of a self-hug and a self-connection. I often consider even these are my own hands on my own body. It's like they're the hands of the teacher or of the Shekhinah, of the God's feminine indwelling presence, just resting with me. Hineni, here I am, just right here. So listening, how is it? How are you doing? What do you feel? And then you can release your hands. We'll come down to the floor for a final pose, which will just be a nice, generous lying twist. So come on to the back. For a moment, just pause here, knees bent, soles of the feet to the floor. Elbows bent and the palms either on the low ribs or the low belly. Constructive rest. See if you can notice any places you're holding. Sometimes it's tops of the shoulders, which is really hard to just let them go. Sometimes it's in the hips or the base of the skull and the neck. See if you can give over to gravity here. Let the body really surrender. Okay, so we're going to take a twist here. If you'd like, you could press into the feet and shift the hips just slightly to the left. Sometimes that can be preferable. The arms are out at shoulder height. And the knees are bent. Inhale here and exhale. Let's take those knees over to the right. Okay, and you want to leave the left shoulder down, grounded down, shoulder blade, outer shoulder, the whole thing. If the left leg is hanging out in the air, you can take a block and place it between the legs on any level, like so. Or you could take the blanket between the legs. You could do this. That'll ease up a little bit if there's a lot of tightness in that left outer hip, buttock. So left shoulder blade, left outer shoulder grounded. The gaze can be up toward the ceiling. Or if you prefer, the gaze can come over the left shoulder. depending on the flexibility that your neck provides. Right? So this is a twist coming through the whole spine. If you feel like you can't breathe or that your breath glitches and stops, then you're a little over twisted. You're a little overdoing, then you'll come out a little. So check in. Do you need a little more or a little less? Do you need to come out of it and just hug the knees to the chest? Just see what you need. And if you need to stay a little more, a little longer, if your body's craving this, go for it. I'm going to come out and pause here in center and place the feet down, and now shift my hips a little bit to the right. So if you did shift the hips a little before, now shift them the other way. Inhale the knees to center and exhale the knees over to the left. And you want to keep your knees as high as possible toward the left armpit, right? And at least at hip height, but not lower. Otherwise, you're taxing your low back. The right shoulder blade and right outer shoulder remain down to the floor. And again, you can place a block or blocks between the knees, lower legs. Gaze up toward the ceiling, or the gaze is over the right shoulder. You can even rock the head a little bit, center to right and back. Let us be here for a few breaths. And as you're ready, again, you can stay longer if you'd like. If you're ready, come on back to center, give the knees a little hug, and then come to stillness. So stillness could be constructive rest, returning there with the knees bent. It could be a more traditional shavasana, legs long, arms out long, palms facing up. Just see what you need. So we've done all the naasehing, all the doing. And now we settle in for a quiet period of nishma. We will listen. And then as you're ready, and feel free again to take a longer rest period if you have time for that. If you're ready to come back into your day, hug your knees to your chest and make your way onto one side and slowly up to seated. Take your time, as long as you need. So we bring this directive as a kavanah into our week from Parshat Mishpatim. Naaseh v'nishma. We will do, and we will listen. We really engage our mindfulness practices. Do the practice. Moment to moment, breath to breath. and to really listen in for the wisdom that comes, and not just in Shavasana, not just right after class, but reverberates and echoes often throughout the day, throughout the week, and beyond in a lifetime of practice. Na'aseh v'nishma. So we'll close, as we have been doing these many weeks, with Achenu Kol Beit Yisrael, prayer for the captives, prayer for all who are suffering. Today is day 122 of the war. And so as the words come on the screen, feel free to follow, to sing with me, or to just listen. We have over 130 hostages for whom we pray. I think it's 134 right now. We pray for their safe and secure return. Achenu kol Beit Yisrael, Achyoteinu kol Beit Yisrael, Hanetunim betzara uvashivya, Haomdim ben bayam uven bayabasha. Hamakom yerachem aleim veyotziem mitzara ve'iravacha umhafel aleora umishibud ligeula hashta bagala uvizman kariv. Shavua Tov, everyone. Thank you for practicing.